Alex, Anoushka, and Kavita ji, wonderful to see you people. Thank you for a truly sublime score and songs in Kavita ji's case. Alex, I've really enjoyed your music for both Mandela as well as Mira's Queen of Katwe. I understand that you did travel to South Africa for Mandela. The logical question is, did you make a trip or trips to the Indian subcontinent to source the music or musicians for A Suitable Boy?
Well, I wish. I mean, I've been to India many times, but unfortunately, COVID struck right, at the beginning. So really, Anushka and me only had a chance to be in the studio, I think, just one time together in the same place before we were all scattered around the globe because of COVID. So we had to really figure out a remote way of doing this movie, which is, I think, new for all of us.
Anushka, is this the first time that you've collaborated with Alex? How did it happen? Did Mira make the introduction or did Alex just call you?
No, Mira set us up. So she wanted to work with me, and she wanted to work with Alex, and so she introduced us and had us work together. So yeah, it was a little bit new to kind of sign on to doing a project of this scale and size with someone I'd never met before. But Mira has a good sense, a good musical sense, and it worked well. Like from our very first day meeting and writing together, it worked really, really well.
Like I always say, thank God for Mira. Kavita ji, there's Dile Nadan by Mirza
हाँ
Ghalib, there's Daag Delvi's Mujhe Bura Kahiye, both in
हाँ
your lovely voice. थोड़ा
या
मुश्किल सवाल है एक माँ से पूछना कि भाई दोनों बच्चों के बीच में कौन सा बच्चा ज़्यादा अच्छा लगता है आपको. But I've got to
बहुत
ask you this
मुश्किल
difficult
है
question. Which did you enjoy doing more, the Ghalib one or the Daag Delvi one?
ऑल खाली ये दो नहीं है, अमीर मिनाई भी है और बहुत कुछ है उसमें। मेरी 5-6 गजलें हैं, तो सारी की सारी मतलब ये तो आप बताइए, हमको तो बहुत अच्छी लगी, सारी गजलें बहुत अच्छी थी। आ, ये तो लोग डिसाइड करेंगे किसको कौन सी पसंद आई। मुझे तो सारी गाने में बहुत मजा आया, क्योंकि वो एक लाइव फीलिंग थी। हम लोगों ने सब कुछ लाइव रिकॉर्ड किया।
जी.
जैसे कि एक महफिल में गाते हैं, जो एक लाइव फील होता है, वो ही मीरा चाहती थी। तो हमने वैसे ही सारी चीज रिकॉर्ड की थी, तो मुझे तो हर गाने में मजा आ रहा था। आ, कुछ भी प्रोग्राम नहीं था। मतलब जैसे प्रोग्रामिंग की जाती है आजकल गजलों की या गानों की, नथिंग वाज प्रोग्राम्ड, एवरीथिंग वाज लाइव। तो एक बहुत ही अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस रहा मुझे वो सारा।
क्या बात है, मतलब बिल्कुल मिनिमल एक साउंड है, मिनिमलिस्टिक
जी
अप्रोच
जी
जिसे कहते हैं.
बिल्कुल, हाँ। और इवन एक चीज और मैं शेयर करना चाहूंगी कि मैंने जब ट्रैक सुने, मतलब इस पे सीरीज में, तो उनमें कई जगह पर जैसे मेरे वॉइस में थोड़ा सा खराश है या कुछ
खराश है.
कुछ, वो उन्होंने एज इट इज रखा। मैंने मीरा को बोला, बोले कि नहीं, लाइव कोई गा रहा है तो वो भी तो होगा। मतलब कितना लेवल पे उन्होंने सोच के रखी है वो सारी चीजें। इट वाज अमेजिंग कि वो सईदा बाई यदि गा रही है तो खराश तो उसके भी गले में आ सकती है ना। तो दैट्स व्हाई आई पुट like that। मैंने कहा ओके, अच्छा, देन इट इज ओके, नाउ इट्स सॉर्टेड।
ऑसम कविता जी.
हाँ,
एलेक्स
मीरा
देयर
जी के
आल्सो,
साथ काम करके बहुत अच्छा लगा
बहुत
जी।
अच्छा लगा जी
जी
जी.
जी।
Alex, there are also pieces of music from the colonial era when the imperialists had just about left India. We're talking 1950, 51. And I really enjoyed some of the party scenes with the twist and the tango, etc., in A Suitable Boy. Would you tell us how you created that sound?
Yeah, it was actually really fun to try some of those things as well. The tango was really fun, and we actually had Vikram introduced us to Philippe Honore, who played the violin in the tango, and we created the sound of it, sort of being on a gramophone. So it starts on the gramophone, and then it sort of opens up and becomes this thing. And then we actually added tabla and different types of Indian percussion to sort of get that sort of cross between the two to try and get a sort of period sound. It's a really fun thing to do.
Yeah, I'm just curious to know. I mean, in the movie, the operatic pieces by the German boyfriend are treated as comic elements, but I
Yeah.
mean, they are sung and they are sung to a piano line. Was that also stuff that you did and just put in there? Yeah.
Actually, that was recorded in India when they were shooting. So I think she learned to play the pieces herself. Actually, they sounded nice.
They did. That's nice. Anushka, is there a detailed storyboarding as in which scene and what action of the scene is on when you're co-writing a score? Or did you even share that as co-writers, as in Alex storyboarding some, you coming in, composing your portions? I want to understand the creative process, please.
I mean, it was different bit by bit. On the whole, I think we had a pattern which suited me selfishly very well, where Alex did the lion's share of anything logistical and technical, and I kind of got to swan in and out and be creative and send things to him to keep track of.
As it should be, totally.
So basically every week I'd get random messages from Alex about which scenes Mira was panicked about and needed urgent work for that week, right? And it was like, can we do these 3 scenes today? Can you record this tomorrow? Do you have any idea for this by Wednesday? And it was like, okay, and it was really like just everything was different. A lot of them were things that maybe Alex, like in most collaborations that are similar for me in albums, for example, where maybe some things Alex would send me that were pretty fleshed out already. He'd really written the bulk of that scene already, but maybe just wanted me to improv a sitar line on top of it, or to play an interpretation of a line he'd already written. Or sometimes he'd send me a bit more, something more empty, and go, do you have any idea for this? And then I'd send him my ideas that he would then orchestrate around. So there was a nice flow that kept things interesting. And yeah, it was really enjoyable.
Well, I have to tell you, Alex, how gracious Anoushka is. A few weeks ago, for a World Vinyl Record Store Day, I was doing an interview with her, and on 2 occasions, I said, the score, the soundtrack that you've done for A Suitable Boy, and on both occasions, she corrected me. She said, co-wrote. It's Alex. And in an era where everybody is just so hungry to take credit, where somebody goes out of their way to constantly deflect glory, I think is something that you should know about. You probably already know how wonderful she is.
That's why Anoushka is how she is. Yeah, but it is a team effort in film. It really is, and it's with the director and the producer and the writers, and everyone pitches in, because it's a group effort.
कविता जी, अब मैंने सुना आपने कुछ रिकॉर्ड तोड़ दिया. I believe you finished recording the songs in absolute record time, 2 weeks. How did you manage it? Do you work well under pressure, or do you prefer lots of time? जब आप कंपोज कर रहे हो तो ज़्यादा वक्त दिया जाए आप पर या दबाव डाला जाए, आप कैसे रिएक्ट करती हैं?
हाँ, थोड़ा प्रेशर रहता है तो मजा आता है काम करने में. अदरवाइज तो आर्टिस्ट लोग तो अपनी धुन में ही रहते हैं ना मोस्टली. तो मीरा ने ऐसा कोई प्रेशर नहीं दिया था, उन्होंने मुझे अच्छे से टाइम दिया. तो 10-15 दिन तो कंपोज करने के लिए मिले. उस वक्त वो आ चुकी थी बॉम्बे में और रिहर्सल्स में भी आती थी, और हमारे पास हफ्ते 10 दिन का या 15 दिन का अराउंड टाइम था कि आप आराम से रिकॉर्ड करिए. मैंने तो फटाफट 3 दिन में पैकअप कर दिया, मतलब सब रैप अप करके सारी गजलें फटाफट रिकॉर्ड के छाप छूप करके दे दिया उनको.
मतलब देसी स्टाइल में छाप छूप दे दिया. Very nice. Alex, what is it about Indian music in particular that you find inspiring and wonderful? I love how, for example, you've used the Indian flute, the bansuri in a lot of places is just so wonderful, the two of you. So just your connection with Indian music, please.
I think my connection really is with players, to be honest. Just so inspiring to have Anoushka there. She can take, and I'm not just blowing hot air now, but she can take just a simple line and make it like a voice, almost like it's singing. And that's what I love about Bansuri as well, and Ashwin, when he plays something, it's like a voice. And I think Indian music essentially it's about the tune, it's about the top line, and I love that about it. So, but just sending Anoushka the most simple thing, and it would come back, and even though it would be very simple, it would just be like this glorious singing thing. That's what I love about Indian music. It's endless melody, and Kavita as well. I mean, what a pleasure to sit there and listen to that. And we I think on the final episode we added some strings, Kavita, to Mehfil Bahat, and it was just, we just did that little pad behind, but it was so nice to be able to work with your voice and hear it, and then just add something behind it, and it's to sort of bind it into the score. Yeah.
Anoushka, anything in particular, any piece that you particularly enjoyed playing? I love, for example, the pacey end credits of episode 6. It's just splendid, the track. It just had a groove, a thump to it, and, your sitar overlaid on. It's just beautiful. Anything that you remember? Any patch that you thought was that you're proud of?
I like that you highlighted that one because that was really lovely to play. I think what was nice is I got to play a really nice variance of things on this soundtrack. Of course, there's the almost predictable but still nice like Lata theme that's very melodic and very sweet. But then also I got to get a little bit more funky on some stuff. If I had to pick one thing though, I'd pick the opening credits, even though it's quite simple, because I think it's very short, but there's something about all the things that we combined and what we managed to achieve on that opening credit. Because Alex was trying to come up with something that had the right mood for the opening credits, that reference partition and all this stuff, and then need to go into this hopeful sense of a new India and optimism. And I suggested this raga that my father had created called Swarna, which he created for India's 50th year of independence. And so by its nature, it has exactly that mix of optimism and pathos because he had composed it with that in mind. It was for India's independence. And so we play that in the opening credits and then from there veer into something slightly different. And I just love that we managed to kind of reference
Wow,
all those
beautiful.
things in that.
Kavita ji, there's also some additional music composed by Namit Das, Chandan ji's son, and additional vocals by Sharvari Deshpande. Did you
जी
collaborate with them, or was their contribution to the soundtrack separate from yours?
Sharvari was there when I was recording the songs.
जी.
और बल्कि महफिल बरखास्तगी में उन्होंने थोड़ा सा कुछ कुछ गाया भी है पार्ट कि वो सईदा बाई की बेटी का रोल उन्होंने किया है, तो बहुत अच्छा था वो एक्सपीरियंस भी। हाँ, नमित ने भी कुछ किया, वो शायद सेपरेटली कुछ किया है, वो मुझको नहीं मालूम, बट वो आ रहे थे जब हमारी रिकॉर्डिंग हो रही थी, तो एवरीडे ही वाज कमिंग एंड गजलें सुन रहे थे और बहुत मजा आ रहा था। तब्बू भी आ रही थी मतलब रिकॉर्डिंग के टाइम पर, और वो देखती थी मेरे बॉडी लैंग्वेज, मेरे एक्सप्रेशन किस तरीके से हैं, और उन्होंने बहुत अच्छा कॉपी किया है। एक दो जगह पे तो मुझे लगा कि वो हैं कि मैं हूँ, समझ में नहीं आ रहा है। इतने अच्छे से उन्होंने मुझे कॉपी किया है।
Kavita ji, you're a master of Sufi as well as the ghazal form. I mean, everybody
जी
knows how learned you are. And I feel films produced for international audiences seem to have more of that.
जी
Commercial Indian Bollywood cinema doesn't do enough of it. Do you feel कि वो बदलाव एक आ रहा है कि अभी आपको लगता है कि गज़लें और सूफी म्यूजिक जो है वो कम हो रहा है बॉलीवुड के अंदर, अगर आप इंटरनेशनल प्रोजेक्ट से कंपेयर करें तो?
बॉलीवुड में थोड़ा सा कम हुआ है, लेकिन ग्लोबली तो बहुत अच्छा है अभी भी सिनेरियो, इट्स वेरी गुड। तो आई थिंक ये तो एक साइकिल है, ऊपर नीचे चलता रहता है, लेकिन जिसका जो काम है वो करता रहता है, और हम भी बस अपने जो भी मुझे पसंद है, जो जिस चीज का शौक है, मैं वो करती जा रही हूँ, और चीजें खुद ब खुद अपनी जगह पे प्लेस होती चली जाती हैं। वो उतना बॉदर नहीं करती मैं, उतना सोचने की जरूरत नहीं है।
की ज़रूरत ही नहीं है, चलिए अच्छी
नहीं
बात
नहीं
है।
नहीं जी।
Alex, now that you worked on two films with Mira Nair, what do you think is unique to her approach as a filmmaker as regards her original motion picture soundtrack, background music, and score?
Yeah, that's a good question. Mira, she really loves music, and she really has a vision of what she wants to do with, in my two experiences of working with her, with what she wants to do. And she also is also a great matchmaker. Like, she put me and Anoushka together, and on Queen of Katwe, she put me together with with her friends in Uganda. And I'd been to Uganda already, so I knew some people, and we were able to match people. So she's a great matchmaker. She's got an overall vision of what she wants to do, and then she puts people together, and it's sort of pretty unusual.
That's incredible. Anushka, as a performing artist, there's so many allied fields. One is you getting up on stage and doing your thing. Big ups to you. That BBC Proms performance was absolutely spectacular.
Oh,
We
well
haven't
done.
spoken
Getting
since. Oh my
that.
God, goosebump inducing. So, we know you're quite the master as far as that is concerned. And then, of course, you get into studio and you record the album. But creating an original score, or putting down your sitar for an original score is an entirely different kettle of fish. I mean, some would say it's very laborious. Sorry to bring in cricket here, but since we have a British and Indian people, we can say that it's like playing Test cricket as opposed to slam bang shorter forms of the game. So, what do you most enjoy? What do you most enjoy?
Well, I think what's been fascinating for me, and thank you for all the compliments, by the way, but what's been fascinating is coming from a live and album recording background, it's a very different skill set to work in the service of a film and work in the service of a director's vision, because obviously when I'm working on my own projects, I'm ultimately making my own choices.
Yeah,
Whereas
true.
here, I have to come up with a creative idea, but then it has to match somebody else's vision. So
Yeah,
so that's something that, I think Mira was great because she's had experiences of working with, musicians who aren't from a film world before. And that was the
true.
first thing she said to me. She said, are you aware of that? There is a different skill set. And I said, no, I fully understand. That's something that I want to do and I want to learn, but that's definitely where I'm like excited to grow more, basically. So getting to do this project in collaboration with Alex was perfect for that, because it was like I got to learn a lot. I got to see how he did a lot of things, but I wasn't, solely responsible for having to do that, never having, scored anything of this scale before. So it was really perfect.
Alex, when you look back at your, thus far spectacular career, what would be your most challenging motion picture to work on? I mean, we can digress from A Suitable Boy or from Queen of Katwe, but just that one uh, motion picture soundtrack that you look at and say, "Wow, this was challenging," but I scaled Mount Everest.
I always like to say nice things, positive things. I don't know. I think every film is challenging in its way. I do think A Suitable Boy has been uniquely challenging because of COVID, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just the logistics of it. But it's also that it was very creative because we were all forced to be creative with what we could work with. As you say, when I went to South Africa or Mandela and we worked there, that was amazing. I've been to Uganda when I was doing Last King of Scotland, and I've been able to travel a lot. But doing A Suitable Boy was like traveling, but being in at home the whole time, and very liberating in a way, to be able to just send something to someone on the other side of the globe, let them do their thing and not breathe down their neck, let them just send back what they sort of feel and then work with it. So actually a very creative process, giving people that space in their own home to work.
Lovely. Kavita ji, you just said that Tabu used to come into studio to kind of get a hang of your mannerisms. I'm going to
जी
flip that question around. जब आपको पता लगा कि आप तबू के लिए गा रही हैं, तो
जी
आपने कुछ ऐसा कुछ किया कि भाई मैं उसको मैच करूं, उसके
नहीं
अंदाज को मैच करूं, ऐसा कुछ नहीं किया आपने?
नहीं नहीं बिकॉज उनको उनका जो कैरेक्टर है कि वो एक सिंगर बनी है, तो ऑब्वियसली उनको मुझे फॉलो करना था, मुझे उनको नहीं।
फिर भी मतलब गले में अगर खराश आ गई हो तो ये तो एकदम नेचुरल हो गया, क्योंकि तब्बू की आवाज थोड़ी सी हस्की है वैसे भी।
हाँ, हाँ। अरे यही तो बात रही थी, मैंने जब उनको बोला, मैंने कहा कि आपने रॉ वॉइस क्यों रखा उसमें? तो बोली कि जब महफ़िल में इस तरीके से जब गा रहे होते हैं, और उस ज़माने में तो इतने अच्छे साउंड सिस्टम भी नहीं थे, तो वॉइस जैसी भी है, यदि खराश आ रही है तो जो भी है, तो वो सब कुछ चलता है ना, तो वो बोली एज़ इट इज़ ही रखूँगी, मैं कुछ चेंज नहीं करने वाली हूँ। तब उनका मुझे विज़न समझ में आया कि वो किस तरीके से वो उनका सोच है कैरेक्टर को लेकर के, और बहुत अच्छे से उन्होंने निभाया, सही में कमाल है।
Anu- Anushka, a big hurrah for Indian classical music. I don't know if you've seen the entire series, but Ustad Shujat Khan Saab plays live.
Isn't it
And you
lovely?
know, how wonderful was that?
No,
Did you catch uh, uh, those
no, of course, I've
portions?
seen I've seen the whole thing, and it's brilliant, and just yeah, just to have this kind of show that has, that much focus on classical music and on the music
Yeah,
of that
I
time
think
period.
it's a revival time for Indian cinema and Indian music, because the whole series is amazing. Musically, it's
चलिए, एक
very
वो ज़माना
good.
था, शुजात खान साहब हैं और आप हैं और अनुष्का, जो मॉडर्न जनरेशन की हैं, आप लोग सब एक साथ आ गए हैं, क्या बात है।
जी,
I've got exactly 60 seconds left, so this is the
अच्छा।
beautiful time to end with some vocals from Kavita ji. कविता
हम्म
जी, कुछ कुछ गा के सुनाइए प्लीज।
हम्म दिल नादा तुझे हुआ क्या है, आखिर इस दर्द की दवा क्या है, दिल नादा तुझे हुआ क्या है।
बहुत खूब.
आहा.
Thank you very, very much. You creative geniuses, you trio. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Anushka. And thank you, Kavita ji. Please stay safe and healthy. All the
Thank you.
best.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Thank you.
Shukriya. Thank you. Bye bye.